Well, let me start off with the difference between the three shelters, because I think that will help. So there are three shelters in Monterey County. We're the city of Salinas shelter. So we're operated through the City of Salinas Police Department. We service just the City of Salinas. We do have a small contract to take stray animals from the City of Marina, but typically it's just Salinas. The county shelter next door to us is operated through the Monterey County Health Department, and they service unincorporated areas. So Prunedale, for example, Moss Landing, Big Sur, all the areas that are not in city limits.
Okay.
And then they also do have contracts with, I believe, Carmel City, Sand City, and Greenfield.
Okay.
So those places take their stray animals over there.
So would you guys cover, or would they cover, like Old Stage Road? Because I know that's considered
the parts on Old Stage that are outside the city limits are their jurisdiction.
Okay.
So yeah, and up where there's the new annex parts of the city, it's like one side of the street is city, one side's county.
Right.
So literally it depends on what side of the street the animal comes from.
Right.
The SPCA on Highway 68 is a private nonprofit, so they're not operated through any government agency. They have they raise their own money. But they also do have the contracts for animals that come from Seaside, Monterey, Pacific Grove, Gonzales, Soledad, Delray Oaks, maybe.
Okay, yeah, but they don't accept animals from Salinas, is what I understand.
And that's the jurisdiction of those cities, depends on where they contract with, where the animals go. So like if you find an animal in Marina, you can't take it to the SPCA because we contract with Marina to take their strays, you have to bring it here.
Okay.
Or if you find an animal in Greenfield, you take it to the county shelter because that's where their contract is. So for stray animals, it depends on where you find it. So yeah, if you find an animal in Salinas and take it to the SPCA, they're going to say, no, you have to bring it here.
Right.
So same thing if you go to Monterey, you find an animal in Monterey, you drive to Salinas, and you say, I found this dog in Monterey, we're going to say you got to take it out to the SPCA. So it can be very confusing.
Right.
But there are 3 shelters here in Monterey County.
How are you guys funded?
We are funded through the City of Salinas Police Department. Our money comes from the police department.
Okay. And is there volunteer services?
We do have a volunteer program. It's small but mighty. We don't have a volunteer manager or volunteer coordinator. So it's a small program because volunteers take management.
Right.
And coordination and supervision and stuff. So we kind of take volunteers one-on-one as we need them.
Do you guys neuter animals here or provide any training services or?
We don't have a clinic here. The county has a spay neuter clinic, but they only use it for in-house because they also don't have the resources to staff it. The SPCA does have a spay neuter clinic in-house.
Right, and you guys offer a voucher to get
We offer a voucher, so we'll give you a coupon to go get it done. But I don't even have a vet on staff here. I only have a vet that comes in twice a week to kind of make sure everybody's okay and then leaves.
And what kind of animals do you guys take in? Is it just dogs and cats?
It's primarily companion animals, so dogs, cats. Rabbits are the 3rd most common pet found in shelters. So we'll get in rabbits, sometimes we get guinea pigs, mice, rats, little things like that. Primarily it's dogs and cats. It's probably about 2,200 dogs, maybe about 1,800 cats, and about 150, 175 rabbits, guinea pigs, something like that.
Do you guys take any kind of animal that is brought to you? Like, let's say they brought a snake. Would you take that? Or would
I would take it only as fast as I can get somebody else to take it.
Okay.
It's got to be a pet. Somebody brings us a rattlesnake, no, it's not. Wild animals we don't take. The SPCA has a wildlife department,
Okay.
so we would refer them to that. And probably a snake, we would refer them to that as well. We just don't have the facilities to take a lot of those other exotic animals.
How do you partner a pet with a family?
It's pretty simple here, and again, that comes down to lack of staffing. But basically, when somebody's looking for a pet, they come to the shelter. They basically look and see what catches their eye. If they see a dog they want to visit with, then we'll take it out. We'll let them visit with it. If they decide they want to take the next step and they have another dog, for example, they will have to go get their dog and bring it here so we can do an introduction. From then, if they want to pursue it, then they'll fill out the application, and based on how they respond to those questions is kind of how we do our counseling. For example, if you're wanting to adopt a 9-week-old puppy and you're gone all the time, you're gone 10 hours a day, that's not a good fix. You've got a puppy that needs some attention more than, you know, the half hour before you go to work or the half hour before you come home and go to bed.
Right.
So that's something that we would probably steer clear of and say, you're probably going to want to look for something else.
Right. So let's say I adopted a dog and I decided somewhere down the line, this isn't for me. You know, I took on more than I could handle. Would I be able to bring the dog or cat back?
It depends.
Oh.
It depends on how long down the road. If it's, you know, 2 months later and there's some issues, then yes, you could bring it back. You may not get your money back, but you could bring it. If it's 5 years down the road,
no.
That's considered an owner surrender, and the SPCA takes owner surrenders. We don't take owner surrenders here.
Okay.
So it kind of depends on the situation. If it's been 6 months and you're just like, yeah, I don't want it anymore, then we're not gonna take it as a return, because it's not a fault of the adoption. It's not like the adoption's not working out. You've just changed your mind.
Right.
Then that would be referred to the SPCA for an owner surrender.
So here it's just basically lost, stray.
We only take in stray animals, and that's because with our resources, we don't, to answer your question, we don't have a training program here. I don't have a trainer on staff, and again, that comes to not having those resources. So our department is really limited in that I've only got 11 staff that work here. I've got 2 officers that do animal control for the entire city. That's 5 days a week. So some days there's only 1 officer if we have a holiday, or we're all on work furlough just like city employees are. So I've got 4 animal care techs, one of which is part-time. So those 4 people take care of all of our animals every single day of the year. So, and some days, and they're not all 4 working every day, because those 4 people have to cover a 7-day week. So most days I have 1 to 2 people out in the kennels, out in the cat rooms, cleaning, feeding, medicating, and if they need to be put to sleep, doing that as well. And so we're limited with, we don't have a lot of staff to do all these extras. We're kind of trying to do the minimal, we're trying to do it well, but we don't have a lot of those additional programs that I know the community needs, because we don't have the staff to do it.
So how long do you guys keep an animal?
So when an animal comes in, from the time either an officer picks it up in the field or somebody finds it and brings it to us, if there's no ID on it at all, so no microchip, no tag, we hold it for 3 business days. That does not include the day that it comes in. So for today's Tuesday, so if it comes in today, we don't count today. We hold it for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It could go for adoption as early as Saturday. If there's owner information, if it has a tag, if it has a microchip, and we can't reach somebody by phone and actually talk to them, then we put a 10-day hold on that animal, and then we actually send them a snail mail letter saying your dog or your cat has been impounded here. So it's a longer hold. Once they go through that holding period and nobody has claimed them, then they become ours to put up for adoption or not. With dogs, we do a 7-point aggression test. So we're looking at, can we play with them? Can we handle them? Can we give them food? Will they let us take our hand back? We use a fake hand. Can we do a brief introduction where we kind of walk by with another dog to see if we're gauging how their initial reaction is with other dogs. Excuse me. Depending on how they do on that aggression or evaluation determines if they go up for adoption. If everything's fine, no issues, we'll put them up for adoption. Once they're in adoption, there's no set time. We'll hold them a day, a week, a month, as long as we can. Probably 2 months for a dog is probably the length of time that they're out there. For cats, it's a lot easier, because with cats, you can handle them or not. So if we can handle them, then we look at how well can we handle them. Can we actually pick them up, carry them, brush them? It's not as a formal of a test, because cats are pretty clear. Usually you can handle them or not. And the same thing for cats. As long as they're doing well, behavior-wise, medical-wise, we have space, we'll hold them as long as we can. If they go through that, for dogs, if they go through that aggression testing and maybe they didn't fail it, but it's not so great where we're comfortable putting it into adoptions, we'll contact rescue groups. We have a lot of rescue groups that take animals from shelters into their temporary foster homes until they can place them up for adoptions. And a lot of times getting the dogs out of the shelter, the stressful shelter environment, and into a more home-like environment, their behavior problems are gone. So where they were scared and we couldn't handle them here, right. Once you get them out of the shelter, they're fine. So that's kind of how we do with once they come in to their evaluation until they go into adoption.
So if either dog or cat comes in and they pass all the tests, and how long do you give them before they're actually adopted? Or, you know, let's say 2 months go by and the dog or cat is still here. Do you guys keep holding them, or do you guys put them to sleep?
There's no set time, because behaviors change, just like our behavior changes every day. Dog behavior, cat behavior changes every day. So we take it on a case-by-case basis. So typically if we have a dog that's here, it's been here about 2 months, usually a month into it, we're already starting to put out feelers to rescue groups to say, hey, this dog's been here about a month, nobody's looking at it, we're going to add it to our rescue list and start getting the word out there. If it's 2 months, I mean, it could be 2 months, that's the average, but if the dog behaviorally and medically is doing fine and there's no signs that it's declining, we will hold on to it as long as we can. If we start to see behavior decline, a lot of times with dogs you'll see kennel stress. It's like on a rainy day, you've got a bunch of kids in a house and they can't go out and play. It's kind of like there's this energy and it's like they're going crazy. Dogs get that way too. They call it kennel stress. It's cage crazy. Basically they're kept in an enclosure for so long, they start to get stressed. They start spinning and jumping and their behavior declines. That's a sign that mentally the dog is not thriving. If we start to see that and we don't have rescue groups to take it, then yes, the dog can be euthanized. And that's because when you start to see that negative behavior, then you're looking at a possible safety issue. And especially if it's a big dog, that's concerning because we're also here to keep the people safe.
Right.
So.
So how many dogs or cats do you keep and are able to house here?
We can house probably about 90 dogs and probably just as many cats.
What is the strangest animal you guys have ever got in here?
Well, we've had a couple tortoises that literally were found running down the street, and they had owners. They got out of the backyard. We've had some big birds like macaws or parrots that have come in. I would say those are probably. We don't get too many exotic animals here, but yeah, I would say we had some chinchillas come in.
Do you guys ever get roosters or?
Yeah, we have one now.
Is that common?
That's not. It is. So chickens and roosters are not permitted in the city limits of Salinas.
Right.
So sometimes we'll get them in because we'll give somebody 2 weeks to remove them. Say, okay, you're not allowed to have these animals. You need to remove them. If they're not removed, then we confiscate them. So we'll get them in. Like somebody found this rooster on Saturday and brought it in. So we sent all the chickens and roosters to a chicken rescue.
So, I mean, technically speaking, I could find a dog or cat or, bunny or whatnot, let's say in Monterey, but you guys wouldn't have a way of knowing that I didn't find it in Salinas, right? So, like, there could be somebody that would say I found it in Salinas just because they know your, boundaries, your jurisdiction, so they could say that.
Yes.
I mean, we prefer for people to be honest.
We get people that lie, yes.
You guys find out that they lie?
Sometimes. Especially if we find their owner and the owner says, well, I live in Monterey, the dog's always in Monterey, and sometimes we'll be able to call the person who brought it to us and clarify. But yeah, some people do lie.
Are people able to, in Salinas, let's say I find a pet at 10 o'clock at night, just wandering, let's say my neighborhood, and I know it does not belong in the neighborhood, would I be able to bring it in right there and
Not
then?
at 10 o'clock at night. No.
So
we don't have anybody on duty after hours.
So just during your normal business hours, they could drop off a pet.
Yes.
So if I dropped off a pet, but I thought it was really cute, but like you said, it might have a chip, you might be able to find its owner. But if you don't find the owner, would I be able to leave you my information and say, call me first, or would
Yes.
I be? Is that
Yeah, we
an
do.
option?
We do allow people to be the first hold. So if you're the RP reporting party, then we put a first hold on it. What that means is the day that animal goes up for adoption. So that 3-day holding has gone on. So for example, an animal that came in today could go up into adoptions on Saturday if nobody claims it and it doesn't have any ID. If you wanted to be that first hold, then you could be the first person to come adopt, but you would have to be here on that day it becomes available.
Okay.
So like you have kind of the first right of refusal. So we'll say, yeah, you can be first hold, but you need to be here Saturday. So we're not going to call you if in a month and a half it looks like nobody's adopting it. We may put it to sleep. We're not going to call you then. If you want to be the first hold, you have the first right, but then you have to come here and adopt it.
What are some of the things that you would like us to let our class know that's so unique about your guys' services that they don't know, that you guys, provide to the community? I know me personally, it wasn't until I got a dog myself that I found out some of the jurisdictions that you mentioned. I didn't know all of them, but I didn't know that you guys strictly only took stray dogs versus surrendering my pet, or I'm not able to. Is it the same, like if I'm not able to take care of my pet anymore, or I'm moving and wherever I'm moving to doesn't allow me to have a pet, my living conditions have changed, all of that, does that fall under surrendering your pet?
Yeah, if you're having to give up your pet, no matter the reason, you're ill, you're moving, you no longer want it, all of that is a surrender, yes.
Okay.
You're giving up your pet. We used to take owner surrenders. We've recently just gone back to strays, giving that the community kind of is needing us more or giving us more animals than I have staff for and I have resources for. So even though I have empty kennels out there, I don't necessarily have the staff to take care of them.
Right.
So we kind of have had to change with, okay, by law, I'm only required to take in stray animals. I'm not required to take in surrendered animals. SPCA has a facility that can have that, and they've got tons more resources than we do.
Yeah.
So that's why we decided to say, okay, we're going to focus on stray animals.
Like for me as a dog owner, if I needed help finding training services for my pet,
Hold on, let me get you.
would I be able to call here and get information as to if you guys have any resources out there where I could be referred for training for a dog?
We do. We do have some information on our website, but you can welcome to call there. There's also links to the other shelters around, and we may even refer you. The SPCA does have a behavior program, so we get to refer you there. There's also a couple trainers here in Salinas that we give information out for too. So yes, we have enough knowledge of what's going on with companion animals to be able to get you more information. And when you adopt from us, we do give you a full packet of all kinds of stuff.
Okay. And at the Monterey County Animal Shelter, do they take surrenders or do they only take strays as?
They only take strays as well from the unincorporated. So right now, the only place to surrender a pet, your pet, is the SPCA.
Yeah. Okay. Want any other questions you might have? Are we able to look at